He knows there's poop there. Now, this is the parable of the poopy Simon. It's meaningful. Because think about it. He's there, wallowing in the poop and the pee. It's all around him. It's all over him. And he looks up at me, and he knows his true nature. He knows he's there in the poop, but he knows that inside of him, there's a light and there's a joy that even amidst all this stuff, he just smiles right at me. And I thought about that in the midst of all of this. Here's this kid. So of course, I clean him up. I had to clean him up just to get him off the changing table, to get him onto the floor so he wouldn't make a mess on the floor so I could run the bath and I could take it back. But anyway, it was a symbol to me that no matter what's going on in our lives, no matter all the poop and the pee and whatever that symbolizes to you, whether it's health or finances or whatever, there is this place within every single one of us that is pure light and pure joy. It just kind of goes, Now again, what we don't want to do oftentimes is look at that darkness. My spiritual teacher, he ran to the closet, he threw open the door, he was so excited to see the darkness, and it wasn't even there. We're not really willing to look at that. And what oftentimes happens is a minister won't get up here and tell you what he's working through. There's this shadow that grows. People will pump themselves up with all this energy and all this wisdom and read all these books, and then of course you see all the scandals, whether it's financial or sexual, and there's nothing wrong with money or sex, just as long as they're used in a loving, consensual way, not stealing or taking from it. But we sort of pump up all the energy spiritually, and it brings up to light whatever's dark and whatever is light. It's just pure energy, showing whatever is there. Now I think as a planet, not even as a country, if we want to climb a mountain, and we've got 2 broken legs, we've got to acknowledge that those legs are broken. You can still climb the mountain, can't you? You can wrap a tourniquet around those legs, and you can go hiking up that mountain, but my guess is that by the time you get back down from that one mountain, you might have injured yourself so bad you're not able to climb any more mountains for the rest of your life. Now, conversely, if you say, okay, there is something going on here, I'm injured, and you nurture that, you take care of that, you heal, you grow even stronger. That scar tissue, that cicatrice, it grows even stronger in those bones. Not only can you climb that mountain, you can climb many, many mountains in the future. Because you're acknowledging that relative truth. What's going on there with those legs? Now Jesus said, love your enemies. Part of loving is understanding and taking the time to listen to all sides. When somebody comes to me with something that they're upset about or a disagreement, I'm very slow to speak. I sit there and I listen very deeply to every person that comes to me, no matter what that perspective is, if it's very different than mine. And oftentimes I take myself out of my own position and put myself in their shoes and try to feel it from where they're coming from. And as I do that, I learn a lot. I understand a lot. And I come back to that decision-making, hearing and understanding all those sides, and there's hope and action there. There's somebody that's willing to hear and see what's going on. Now that was a kind of a small example with my son. I'll give you a bigger example, one that may be a little bit more esoteric and hard to grasp. But the ancients, they understood that the universe itself goes in cycles. And in India, they studied these, and they called them the yugas. I've mentioned these before. And there's ages of rising awareness and descending awareness. And what they say right now is that actually, despite what it looks like, we're in this age of rising awareness. And they do this, they were even further along scientifically in many ways than where we are now. But some of this you can look up scientifically and verify today. But they theorized that there was a dual that our star revolves around. That all stars, most stars at least, have a dual. And today, they said it takes about 24,000 years, and as you get closer to that star, and as they revolve around each other, there's this tremendous body in the heavens that's emitting energy toward your star, toward your planet, and so it affects the consciousness. And so what they said is that as you get closer to that star and the revolution that's going on all the time, you go through a cycle and your consciousness rises. It's a little more detailed than that, in that you're spinning and you're doing these revolutions, but you're also spinning around a galactic center, and they talk about that as well. I don't want to get too crazy. But you can look this up, and it's called the precession of the equinoxes. And it is about a 24,000-year cycle. So our science is starting to catch up and realize, and there's a lot of theory that says, okay, maybe there is a dual. There's a lot of people out there, maybe it's a white dwarf, but we haven't quite gotten there where we're verifying that yet. But the ancients, thousands of years ago, were saying, yeah, this exists, and it affects our consciousness. Now, if you think about that alone, and you just take it into meditation and you feel, you say, okay, that's a bunch of intellectual stuff that Jeffrey's sharing. How does it feel? Well, I don't know about you, but I can feel that the energy washing over our planet from the universe is not what it was in 2015. It's amping up every year that goes by. You can scientifically look at studies that talk about our climate, talk about the climate of Venus, the climate of Mars, the severity of the storms in all these places. It's not just affecting our planet, it's affecting the whole solar system and beyond. I mean, these are scientific studies. The heat rising on Saturn. So you can sort of deduce, and you can go into meditation and feel something's going on. You know, there's a lot of energy washing over our planet. Now, why is that hopeful? Because it doesn't matter what your politics are. It doesn't matter what state of consciousness you're in. It doesn't matter what you believe in. If an entire universe is washing light over your planet, the universe is going to win. It's going to win. And that is something, so I look at the small thing at Simon and I say, there's pure hope in action. This is also pure hope in action. I mean, that amount of energy that I personally can feel in my meditation that has increased exponentially since I began 20 years ago doing this stuff, it's coming over our entire planet. And it's bringing everything up. If you're a white supremacist, it makes you a more hateful white supremacist. If you're a peaceful, loving person, it makes you a more peaceful, loving person, because it's raw energy. So it's bringing everything to the surface to be looked at and to be healed. And that is so hopeful. Because that is the energy of light that is uplifting us all. In the process, things have to be destroyed. They have to be broken down. Yugas. Now, the first part, again, the individual in my family wasn't really willing to look at it. You've got to acknowledge the problem, then you can fix the problem. So you've got to acknowledge it, then you can move on to fixing it. Now, what I want to, so I've given you a couple symbols. I've given you the parable of Simon and Poopy Simon. I've given you the stadium with the light and the darkness. Which one's more powerful? And I've given you an explanation of maybe what's going on even in our universe that can remind us of hope. So what I invite you to do is just take some of that and take it really deep. You know, go deep in your spiritual practices and contact that light that's within you. And bathe yourself in it. And live in it and get really close to it. And take your candle today and whenever, tomorrow and on Tuesday at our candlelight service, and say to yourself, I am the light. I'm going to align myself with the flow of the entire universe. And get strong in that light and get to the point where you can go anywhere and remain centered in that truth. Because as you do that, you become that gift to the world. And there's so many people today that are so confused, and you can help them. You can be that light-filled presence, and your words, your truthful words, and your humble, loving, empowered presence, it makes an impact. When people bring hate, I want you to be bigger than that. I want you to speak words of truth to that, truths of words. I want you to be the light that you are. Now, the story of our nativity, I think, is a story that we talk about every year at this time. It's a story of incredible hope. I mean, talk about some darkness. I mean, Jesus is born, and the minute he's born, they're trying to murder him. You know, the Gestapo of Herod is searching every house and killing the babies. Now, we've been through some darkness, everybody here, but my guess is we probably haven't been hunted and tried to be murdered the moment we were born. Maybe you have, I don't know. But that's some heaviness, you know? And here's a guy that's willing to stand and center in that light and in that love, even in the midst of that, born into that, and is willing to play in that love, to be in that light. Now, I don't agree necessarily with every single word that Jesus said, that it's always the highest and best, and I think that's healthy. I mean, to project an image of perfection on any human being, I think, is an unhealthy expectation. But what I try to do and what beings have told me to do is to go within and to tune out all the words and everything everybody said about Jesus and experience for myself that love and that light within me that he spoke about. And as I go and I do that practice year after year, day after day, and I contact what that is, there's an incredible presence there within all of us. So powerful. That's the presence within him that said, no matter what you do to me, I'm going to rise. I'm the way, the truth, the life. He wasn't speaking from his ego. He was speaking from the universal, right? That way, that truth, that life lives within every single one of us. It's our highest, truest nature. And when we start to align ourselves with that, we become the hope of the world. Jesus said, the things I do, you can do also, and greater things. And we tend to trivialize that, right? I invite you to really work with that, really practice that. I'm watching Simon do it as he's sitting in the poop. He's there. He knows. So go deep this holiday season and become the hope of the world. Become hope in action. Why not? The presence of God lives in you, just like it did in Jesus. And you have that power. And if you stand in truth lovingly and humbly, and you bring that spiritual energy all the way down through your body to the base of your feet, wherever you go, whatever you say, whatever you do, you will be hope in action. You will be the light of the world. I believe every single one of you has that power to make that difference, to be that light where it's needed, and to shine it with humility and with love. And your very presence, to me in my life, is a gift. It's a gift to me and it's a gift to this world. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for it. And so it is. Amen.